Yeah, this kind of, and I told you I had not a boiling hot take, but a steaming hot take, like a fresh out of the hot shower take. And I think Brock Purdy should be in the MVP talk. I have not seen it at all. I have not seen anyone talking about Brock Purdy. I've seen Tua, I've seen Tyreek, I've seen Christian McCaffrey. All warranted. But at the end of the day, it is a quarterback award. We know that. We know the MVP tends to go to quarterbacks. And so I looked at Tua's stats because he's the other quarterback who I've seen a lot of talk about. He has 1,614 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Brock Purdy has 1,271 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Which, by the way, I believe, let me double check this real quick. I think he is the last quarterback to have not thrown an interception. Oh, nope, CJ Stroud still has not thrown an interception. So CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy are the only two quarterbacks left who have not thrown an interception this season. Brock Purdy has never lost a game that he both started and finished. The only game they've lost is that NFC Championship game where he got hurt. That's going back to last season. This dude is clearly good. I mean, you watch and I know we put out a video at one point saying, "Is Brock the franchise quarterback?" Like not 2 weeks ago. It's quite the turnaround that I'm having here. But I've been watching him, and I've been like attentively watching the way he plays, watching the way he dissects the field. There was a play against the Cowboys, and it turned into a touchdown. It looked like George Kittle was supposed to take the cornerback and probably the safety with him and just run, and that was going to open up Ayuk across the middle. Well, what ended up happening is the corner seemed to take Ayuk, and they double-teamed him, left Kittle wide open, and Brock would have freaked out if he wasn't if he was just this system guy. He's like, that's the guy who's supposed to be open, I'm going to throw to him. No, he saw Kittle was open and said, okay, I'll throw over there. It turned into a touchdown. I think Brock understands Kyle Shanahan's offense, which is one of the most complicated offenses in the NFL because Kyle Shanahan's an offensive genius. He knows when to run. He knows when to audible. He just seems to really get football, like you said. He's not just a system guy. I think we need to have the conversation about whether Brock Purdy should be the MVP this year. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought about that either. I mean, the awards are a little far off in my head, but I mean, that's true. I mean, he has been just so consistently a starting level quarterback. Every other starter has their faults, right? I can't really point out too many in Brock Purdy. So, I mean, we'll see what his success is this season. Maybe, fingers crossed, we could see an undefeated season from him. But regardless of what happens, I think he's definitely proved that he's a starter level quarterback, which people were questioning just last season, right? I mean, but he's definitely a starting level quarterback. I think he's definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He should be in everyone's top 5 conversation at this point in time. In regards to whether he's an MVP, it's a little hard to say just because to me, an MVP is the most valuable player, the player on that team that gives them the most kind of wins above who else would be replacing them. And I don't know how much of that is true compared to Tua. I think Tua definitely pulls his team along with him, while Brock Purdy is just part of a much better team.
Yeah, the thing is though, Brock Purdy is just what he's done. He is so far above what was expected of him, and he has come from so much. And the way he, especially the Dallas Cowboys, like that is a defense that people have struggled with for years. Dan Quinn is great with that defense. Micah Parsons is a monster. And Brock just stood in the pocket. He trusted his guys. He was able to be articulate with the football. And honestly, yeah, Christian McCaffrey is probably the most valuable player on that offense. So I don't know that Brock is necessarily the most valuable player on the 49ers offense. But again, the MVP is a quarterback award. And I hate to say it, and I think Christian McCaffrey really should get it because he's had a touchdown in 14 games straight now. That's an impressive streak. And the fact that quarterbacks just seem to always get the MVP award is stupid, but it's the way it is. And this is the year to do it, really. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is having a bad year. Patrick Mahomes has 1,287 yards. He's right there with Brock Purdy in yardage. And that's with the refs' help and we got all those wins that maybe shouldn't be wins. You had the Jets game, and then we had the Minnesota Vikings, and we have the Taylor Swift effect going on. Whatever. Josh Allen hasn't been having a great game. We've had a resurgence with Joe Burrow, maybe. Maybe he's back. I think he's back. He looked really good against the Arizona Cardinals. But our top 5 quarterbacks that we usually have haven't been doing great. Like Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Jackson, Lawrence. Even Herbert's kind of been iffy. I think this is the year for Brock Purdy to step in and get that. Tua, I think you could argue the same thing, that he's just got really good offense with, because that Dolphins offense is insane too, with Hill and Waddle and Mostert, and they had the rookie running back who's now injured. But I don't know. I think more people need to be talking about Brock Purdy for MVP.
Here's what I'll say. December 3rd, they're playing the Eagles. I think that might be, at that point in the season, if he's still performing at this level, I think then yes, he should be MVP. But I want to see how he does going up against better offenses in the next few weeks. The Cowboys, they didn't really put up a whole lot of points against him. So let's see those type of games when maybe he's not winning in the third and fourth quarters, when maybe he has to work a little bit harder to get his team back up. Looking back at Tom Brady, and all the games I watched him destroy the Jets on, so many of them he'd be down in that third and that fourth quarter. I remember one of his last game against us when he was on the Buccaneers. He had to come back against us, right? And that's the type of quarterback that I think wins an MVP award. So let's see him in those type of positions these next few weeks. He has some good offenses coming up. If the Bengals are back, I have no doubt that Burrow is going to make the connection to number 1 and perhaps put 3-4 touchdowns on the board. Let's see how he does against an offense like that. But I do think he is definitely a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Yeah, 49ers aren't allowed to go defeated. They need to lose in 2 weeks to the 49ers or to the Bengals. After that, they can go, and then we'll just beat them again in the Super Bowl. No big deal. We have beef with the 49ers in the Super Bowl anyway.